terwijl de ouders
He is gracious, he is righteous.
A silent battle rages on. A battle for the soul of Zimbabwe. Like a phantom limb, the legacy of colonialism lingers, shaping the desires, aspirations, and even the spiritual pursuits of its people. In this episode, we embark on a journey through the complex labyrinth of history, exploring the intricate relationship between colonialism, material longing, and the erosion of cultural and spiritual identity. The colonizers, masters of manipulation, understood the profound influence of spirituality on a people's resilience. They recognized that a society deeply connected to its ancestral beliefs was less likely to succumb to the siren songs of secularism and materialism that was sweeping the globe. As we've discussed, by fostering the veneration of figures like Nehanda, they aimed to keep the Zimbabwean people spiritually anchored to their past, seemingly shielding them from the perceived dangers of modernity and globalization. However, this strategy was a double-edged sword, a gilded cage. While the black majority was encouraged to cling to their spiritual heritage, they simultaneously and systematically denied access to the material advancement and opportunities enjoyed by the white minority. This created a stark contrast, a simmering cauldron of resentment and unfulfilled desires. The allure of modernity, once a distant mirage, now tantalized the Zimbabwean people, fueling a growing sense of deprivation and a yearning for the forbidden fruits of progress. This carefully cultivated disparity would eventually erupt, leaving a deep scar on the nation's psyche and shaping its trajectory for generations to come. The prolonged deprivation under colonial rule was a time bomb, ticking away within the Zimbabwean psyche. When the chains of oppression were finally broken in 1980, there was an explosive release of pent-up desires. The masses, who had been denied for so long, now craved modernity and material possessions with an almost insatiable hunger. This collective yearning manifested itself in various ways, from the infamous Willowgate Scandal, where government officials were caught abusing their power for personal gain, to a culture of corruption that seeped into every level of society, mirroring the moral decay depicted in Ike Amar's poignant novel, The Beautiful Ones Are Not Yet Born. The Willowgate Scandal, exposed by the Sandura Commission, laid bare the extent to which the pursuit of material wealth had corrupted the nation's leaders. Yet the public's reaction was surprisingly muted. Was it the shock of betrayal, the tragic suicide of one of the implicated officials, or perhaps a tacit acknowledgement that the desire for prosperity was so deeply ingrained in the national consciousness that even blatant corruption could be forgiven? This marked a turning point, a moment where the lines between right and wrong were blurred, and the pursuit of material gain, at any cost, became an acceptable, even lauded goal. Rhodes's vision of transmuting the nation into oppressor had come to fruition, but in a twisted and insidious way. The white colonizers had ensured that while they were in power, the people were spiritually rich but materially impoverished, allowing them to exploit the nation's resources with impunity. Now, after independence, the black majority had inherited this legacy of exploitation. The pursuit of wealth became a national obsession, with a new breed of new money elites emerging, eager to flaunt their newfound riches. These individuals, often lacking the financial literacy and long-term vision of the old money class, engaged in conspicuous consumption, building mansions and buying luxury cars while neglecting investments in their communities or sustainable development. Their mantra seemed to be, "We were deprived for so long, now it's our turn to eat." In this relentless pursuit of material wealth, something precious was lost: the cultural identity and spiritual essence of the Zimbabwean people. The colonizers had succeeded in their mission to strip away the nation's soul, leaving behind a void that was now being filled with a rabid hunger for material possessions. Even spirituality became commodified, with the rise of prosperity gospel churches promising wealth and success to those who tithed generously. The true meaning of spirituality, the pursuit of inner peace and connection to the divine, was overshadowed by the relentless pursuit of worldly riches. But amidst this darkness, a glimmer of hope remained. There are those who refuse to succumb to the allure of materialism. They understand that true liberation lies not in perpetuating the cycle of exploitation and greed, but in rediscovering the values of community, compassion. Zimbabwe stands at a crossroads. The path to true liberation lies not in perpetuating the cycles of exploitation and materialism, but in rediscovering the nation's spiritual roots. Who are you? Who are we? Understanding what went wrong and reclaiming our true identity. It's time to shift focus from having to being, from external validation to internal fulfillment. The journey ahead may be challenging, but it's a journey worth taking. Let us all strive to be part of the solution, to build a Zimbabwe where prosperity is not measured solely by material wealth, but by the richness of its people's spirits and the strength of their cultural identity. Only then can Zimbabwe truly heal the wounds of its past and forge a future built on a foundation of genuine prosperity, rooted in both material well-being and spiritual wholeness. The legacy of colonialism is a heavy burden. It is not an insurmountable one, though. By acknowledging the past, embracing our cultural heritage, and cultivating a spirit of compassion and self-reliance, we can create a brighter future for Zimbabwe. A future where the true wealth of the nation lies not in bank accounts, but in the hearts and the minds of its people. How do we, as individuals and as a society, contribute to the perpetuation of materialism and corruption? In what ways can we reclaim our cultural heritage and spiritual values in a modern context? How can we shift our focus from external validation to internal fulfillment, cultivating a sense of genuine prosperity that encompasses both material and spiritual well-being? What role can each of us play in building a Zimbabwe that is not only economically prosperous, but also spiritually and culturally vibrant? That's for you to think about. Until next time, peace.